Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This video is episode 6 in our tax tips and investing series. If you had a chance to watch our last video, we walked you through some important tax updates, some tips to help you avoid unexpected taxes and penalties this year, and we also talked about some expenses that you may not have known can be claimed on a tax return. Today, we're going to be continuing that video by walking you through 8 more tax credits and benefits that you might be eligible to claim on your taxes this year. For everything that we'll be covering today, the related links to Canada Revenue Agency's website will be linked in the description below. Be sure to follow those links to confirm that you're eligible for any of these credits or benefits before you actually apply. If you're still unsure, a tax professional can help you walk you through the steps of applying for any of these to ensure you meet the proper requirements and that you also have any related documents on hand that Canada Revenue Agency may ask you for. Before we jump in today, we wanted to remind everyone, and for those of you that may not know, if working with a tax professional is not financially an option for you this year, there are ways to have your taxes prepared for you for free. If you visit the Canada Revenue Agency website, there are a list of providers that offer DIY software so you can complete your taxes on your own for free, as you can see here. If you don't feel savvy enough to do your taxes yourself, there are other ways to have them prepared for you free of cost. Every year, Canada Revenue Agency offers free tax clinics where tax professionals volunteer to help prepare your taxes for you for free, either in person or you can drop them off. For some taxpayers, you may even be eligible to have your taxes completed for free by Canada Revenue Agency itself through their automated service over the phone. To use this new option, log into your CRA My account and check your messages. If your tax situation is relatively simple and similar each year, you might have an invitation letter there waiting for you to use this program for free this year. So let's get started with our very first credit. Number 1 is a tax deduction for tool purchases. If you were a tradesperson last year or an apprentice mechanic and you had to purchase tools for your job, you might be eligible to claim a deduction for the cost of them. There are some rules to follow, including having a completed T2200 from your employer. If you're eligible, though, this could be worth a maximum claimable credit of $500 this year. Number 2 is support for single parents. If you're single and supporting your child that is under 18, you might be eligible for a tax credit that can offer substantial tax relief. This credit is called the Eligible Dependent Credit. The amount that you can claim can vary if your child has income, or will increase if you're caring for a dependent that is infirm. If you're eligible for the maximum amount, it can mean claiming a credit of up to $13,808 on your tax return this year. Number 3 is moving expenses for work. If you had to relocate in order to work out of a new location, you might be eligible to claim the expenses you incurred during your move. There are some requirements in order to be eligible. For example, you would have had to move at least 40 kilometers closer to your new workplace. Examples of items that can be claimed are things like movers, storage, utility hookups and disconnections, travel expenses, and even some of the costs to sell your home, like your real estate commissions. Number 4 are renovations on your home. If you're a senior or you have a disability certificate on file with CRA and you had to make renovations to your home to make it more safe or accessible, then you might be able to claim the expense for those renovations on your tax return this year. For those of you with a disability certificate, you may also be able to claim those costs as a medical expense as well. So essentially, you can claim the same cost twice on your tax return. There are guidelines to follow as not all renovations are eligible, but for those that are, it can mean a claim of up to $10,000 on your tax return for the home accessibility credit, as well as claiming the full amount as a medical expense on top of that. If you're caring for a relative in your home who qualifies for this credit, like an aging parent, you may be able to claim this credit on your tax return if you're eligible. Number 5 is interest on the Canada Child Benefit. One of the benefits available to parents in Canada is the Canada Child Benefit, a monthly paid benefit worth up to $6,833 per year per child. If you collect CCB and normally deposit it into a bank account separately for your child, the interest earned on the account is considered your child's income, not yours. This means for most parents, any income earned on these amounts is normally tax-free if it's less than $13,808, the amount of money you could have earned last year in Canada without having to pay any federal taxes. Number 6 is adoption expenses. Did you adopt a child last year? If so, you may have expenses that are eligible to be claimed on your taxes this year. These can include, but are not limited to, immigration expenses, translation fees, and adoption agency fees. Finalizing an adoption can take several years, but all eligible expenses over that time would be claimed in the year the adoption is finalized. This can mean an expense claim of up to $16,729 on your taxes this year. Number 7 is working at home due to COVID. If you had to work at home because of COVID last year, you could be eligible to claim your home office and supplies. There are 2 ways that you can claim this credit. The easiest method is a flat rate method, which is worth $2 for each day that you worked from home, up to a maximum credit of $500. For those of you with a substantial amount of expenses, though, using the detailed method instead may be more beneficial as you're not limited to that $500. That being said, there are additional requirements that you have to meet, one of which is a completed T2200 that your employer will need to provide to you. Keep in mind, if your taxes are prepared professionally, the detailed method will likely increase the cost of your return, so this is something to factor in as well. Number 8 is travel expenses for medical reasons. If you had to travel for medical treatment and your travel was over 40 kilometers, you might be able to claim your travel-related expenses, like public transportation or, in some cases, private transportation. If you had to travel more than 80 kilometers for medical treatment, you might also be able to claim additional expenses, like your meals, accommodation, and parking. We've gone through a few great ways to save on your taxes this year, but these are only a few of the benefits and credits that are available out there. Sometimes working with a tax professional can be helpful to ensure you're applying for everything that you're eligible for. Keep in mind, though, that when you are doing that, some of the more complex credits, like travel and home office expenses, can substantially increase the fee of your tax return because they normally require the completion of additional detailed tax schedules. So our final tip would be to ask in advance how much will applying for these credits cost, because you want to make sure that any benefit that you're getting from those credits more than offsets the cost of applying for them in the first place. Hopefully you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.